The first major update about Salesforce LWC in summer 24 release is Salesforce is providing a new API version for Salesforce LWC, which is version 61.0, which comes up with major bug fixes, enhancements, and some new features. So let's talk about that.
Let's talk about the first update that Salesforce provides for Salesforce LWC with its Summer 24 release. It is the new API version for Lightning Web Components, which is version 61. Here in the XML file of your LWC, you can specify the version number of your LWC. By specifying the version 61 here, you will get or you will receive the latest updates from Salesforce, latest some enhancements or bug fixes that they are shipping together as part of summer 24 release. In case you don't update your what I say API version here, and let's say you keep it to version 58, all your LWC components won't get the latest updates, and it will work as it was working in summer 23 release. So if you want your LWC to support the latest releases or latest features or enhancements, or if you want your LWC components to have the latest bug fixes, you have to like modify this API version here. I hope this makes sense.
So the second release for Salesforce LWC in summer 24 is regarding the support for the use of third-party web components in LWC. Many of the times we get the requirement to include third-party libraries to enhance the features and functionalities of our Lightning Web Components, and often such third-party libraries require an open shadow root property or open shadow root behavior to append some sort of like divs or some sort of HTML tags into our LWC components dynamically to achieve their desired behavior. Before summer 24, Salesforce was not exposing this shadow root property, meaning that it was by default set as close. So if any third party library that you were trying to include in your LWC component, and in turn that third party library if try to what I say if try to append some HTML components dynamically, it wasn't supported. But with this summer 24 release, Salesforce is now allowing third-party libraries to like dynamically append some HTML components to support their features, and this update is currently in beta version. Let's now take a look at the practical use case of this. Here I have a component where I'm trying to like include a third-party library called Monaco Editor in my LWC component to provide some sort of code editor in my LWC for my next project. I'll quickly go through the JS of this component, and here you can see that with the help of static resource here, I have already set up the library in my static resource. Then with the help of this load script, what I say utility, I'm trying to load this what I say this third party library into my LWC component here. And as you can see, when I'm trying to initialize this third party library, it is trying to create some component dynamically within my LWC. Before I show you the output of this LWC, let's go to the XML section, and here you see I have set up the version API version 58.0, which means my component is currently working in what I say summer 23 release, not summer 24. So let's see this in action. I'll go to my browser. I'll try to reload my tab. I have already created a tab for my LWC, and you see I hit with an error that Monaco is not defined because this third party library tried to include like append some sort of HTML element into the DOM of my LWC, but since Salesforce by default doesn't support it in this up to the version 23, uh, it is not working as expected. Now let's try setting up something here to make this work. I'll go to this section and I'll change the API version to 59, because starting from the API version 59 in LWC, Salesforce ships the new enhancements for open shadow root behavior for the LWC components, which is the part of summer 24 release. Let's modify some changes here. Demo for open shadow root. I'm just adding a sample text just to see this in action. It is getting deployed. Okay, let's go back to the org, and now let's try to refresh this page. Okay, the update didn't took place, it seems. Sometimes it takes time to take the refresh. Okay. Still, this is a problem. No, I think now see the component is now rendering here. I can type my code here. You see, initially it was not taking the refresh, but sometimes it take time to take the reload of the changes. Now, as you see here in my code, I have specified the version, what I say, 59, which as I mentioned, version start API versions starting from 59 and more. Salesforce incorporates the summer 24 release in the LWC framework. Therefore, just the change of by just changing this version, my third party library started working without having any issues. So this is the major impact or major enhancement that Salesforce is coming up with their latest release. Just to note, this update is still in beta, so you have to keep yourself updated with the when this function or this feature become what I say publicly available and rolled out to all the organizations. So I hope this update makes sense. The third major update that Salesforce is coming up in summer 24 Lightning Web Component is support for URL addressable Lightning Web Component. You wonder what does that mean? Earlier, when you want to navigate to your LWC web components via URL in your browser, you had to first create your LWC, then you have to, like what I say, enclose, or you have to like put your LWC within an Aura component to expose it via URL. But with this summer 24 release, you don't have to you no longer need to create Lightning Aura component to make your LWC URL addressable. Instead, what you can do in your Lightning Web Components, what I say, in the metadata file, within the targets, you can configure Lightning URL addressable as one of the target, which exposes your Lightning Web Component to URLs. Now you wonder, let's say I have created an URL addressable Lightning Web Component. How would I use it, or how would I navigate to this URL, or navigate to this LWC? So for that, I have tried creating a small demo. So here, let's say this is my parent component from which I would like to navigate to my URL addressable LWC. For that, what you have to do, you have to use Lightning Web Component Framework's standard navigation mixin, as I have highlighted here, and you have to extend that interface in your like parent LWC. Similarly, in this navigation mixin, you have to use standard component as the component type, and in the attributes within the component name field or property, you have to specify the name of your URL addressable LWC. The name consists of two things: namespace plus the name of LWC. Here, since we are not developing a managed package, so standard namespace would be C double underscore, then the name of your LWC. In this case, my LWC's name is LSA underscore URL addressable component, and With the state parameter in the navigate mixin, you can provide the value to the property of your URL addressable LWC. Likewise, as you can see, I have specified the value of the property named property value here. This will directly be passed to my URL addressable LWC. So if I go to my URL addressable LWC, I can see that I am reading the value from this state attribute that is being passed from the parent component. So here, as you can see, this is a big change that Salesforce is coming up, and it is also removing the dependency of Aura component when it comes to expose your LWC as an URL based component. Right now, since my org is not like summer 24 ready, like the summer 24 is not yet rolled out in my org, therefore I'm unable to deploy it. But if you want to taste it and play around it, you should first get a summer 24 release enabled sandbox or a production or maybe a developer org. Then only you can just deploy these changes and try it out. Let me know what do you think about this update, and is this going to help you in your projects or your in your next upcoming work that you are planning to do on Salesforce LWC. The fourth major update that Salesforce is coming up for Lightning Web Component is regarding that class and style attributes now render with extra white spaces. You wonder what this update is all about. Let's understand this with an example. So what I'm doing, I'm defining a sample HTML div tag, sample LWC, and I'm specifying two classes here. Text SM. These are just basic classes. Text and SM and the color dark. Which means these two style sheets classes will try to apply the text smaller and color dark on my what I say on my div element. Here earlier what we used to do before this summer 24 release, if I have to like query this HTML element in my JS using the query selector, I used to write it like this. Wait a minute. Let me go to here. Yes. Let's say in the connected callback, I would like to query select that what I say that HTML element. So I used to write like this dot sample dot query selector, and I could have used it like this. Something like this. And I can specify text SM and correct. So this was valid because what it was supposed to do, it will try to find the element that matches the class attribute with the exact values. Here you can see that. But now with this latest summer 24 release, even elements like this are also supported. What does I mean by that? Let me just copy and paste it. Summer. Now, now with the summer 24, if user specify an element or an HTML element with a space within the class attribute, then also it will be considered valid. So with this latest release, in case you use the same approach to query select your what I say your HTML element, with the class attribute mentioned like this, so it won't work, because now in the, as I mentioned in the HTML part, the class attribute also supports the white spaces. So the right way of doing or query selecting the element based on the class name is uh, something like this, right? Sorry, like, so the right way would be this dot template dot query selector. Then I should be specifying the name of all classes that my element has with a dot and separated by a space. So it will go something like this. Dot color dark. So this is the change that this update talks about. That now the class attributes supports extra white spaces. So you have to like if you are like migrating your existing LWC components to the latest release, then you have to make sure that if you are using query selectors in the above way or the old way, you have to find those places and modify it to meet the latest standards. This is all about this new update regarding the CSS and style sheets. Let me know in the comment section below what do you feel about this update, and in case you have some suggestions for me, or if you have some thoughts to share with us, definitely you can use our comment section. One quick change: instead of a space, there will be no space between the class names. So in case you have two, three, or four classes or more than one classes, they should come with a dot without any space in between them. For example, this is my first class, then there is no space between the first and the second class, then become the dot second class. Like that, you have to add a number of classes that you have in your HTML element.